And the same demons that they deal with as being non-parents, they continue to deal with as parents. And people just try to do the best that they can. And I think that Myrna, she loved her daughter. She loves all her kids. She stayed married. She stayed in the house. She still continued to provide. And she still continued to hold on to a dream for herself. So there were some things that I think that she did right. And there are always ways that we can improve, not only as parents, but just as human beings. And that's just sort of in recognizing that every day we have the choice to make a different decision. So yes, we're not perfect parents, which means we're not perfect people. But every day we can make a decision to try harder to be more loving, to try harder to not be as angry. In the last confrontation scene, I believe that had something to do with alcohol. If alcohol is your stick, maybe that's the thing that you need to stay away from, So we have the choice to make to be a better person. So I hope that kind of answers your question. It was tough.
Come on down.
My name is Jayla. I just wanted to know, it's throughout the whole play, there's a part where everybody has that vulnerable moment. Mm-hmm. So how did you go about doing that? What did you have to do to get to that moment?
Thank you, Jay.
Is that for everybody?
Yeah.
I think for me, not judging Annie or the decisions she's made or the mistakes that she makes throughout the play. It's so easy for us as young adults or even older adults to judge you guys. And we look at you and we're just like, you're making these dumb decisions, and they're not thinking straight. Why would you want to feel that? Why would you want to say that? And I think coming to Annie with a clear mind and giving her a chance and validating her decisions helped me slip into that vulnerable place, because if I'm not going into it judging her and thinking this is stupid or why would she do this, I'm fully, completely opening myself up to the possibility that this could be the right choice. And so when it flips and it's not the right choice, I think not the loss, but that feeling of whatever that is that much greater, because I really, really, truly believe that this could work. And I think approaching it she really just needed someone to love her, or she really thinks a baby is the answer. And when that doesn't turn out to be completely true, And then I think about you guys, because I know there are decisions that y'all have to make. And there are things that you're going through right now that's really big. And so when it falls, it's so that sympathy, that empathy, I think allowed me to remove the smart Kashana or the wiser Kashana, and to just understand that y'all are people and you're young. And I think that definitely helped me sit with Annie and be open and vulnerable and all that stuff.
I mean, with every show, this is our job, and most actors will tell you, if nothing else, your number one job is to display honesty on stage. And there's a lot of times, I'm sure we've all had roles where when you're first working on it, you feel that place that's rising up that you don't want to step into, and that's exactly where you need to go if you're going to do your job right. And I always think about what Kashana just said, a lot of people, especially in characters that are, my character is sort of an outcast. I feel like a lot of people laugh at him or just think he's, a number of things. And so when I do a lot of, I approach it from a lot of what Kashana wrapped up on, which is I know a lot of people are going to see me in this one scene a certain way, but there's one version of Malik in the audience. And if there's one dude or one girl in the audience like Malik, then I really need to go ahead and step into that scary place so that they leave the audience, that one person, feeling that's me, or I know where to go from here, or somebody's telling part of my story, or somebody sees me or knows what I'm dealing with, It's there's a lot of selfish stuff that actors do on stage and just being seen, but we really try to give a lot to the audience, and we feel y'all, and especially tonight, we love having y'all because y'all know when something BS is in front of you,
yes.
And there's no room for it, and that's our job, to leave the BS in the dressing room and come in just be raw with y'all. Yeah. She said, "You're me." You.
Come on down.
Come on, if we behind you, we gotta walk down.
You're not on camera, I can't hear you.
You're so disrespectful.
Okay. My name's Tobias Lucas,
Yes.
aka OT.
That's right.
And I got simple questions, not too much. I want to say, Annie, I'm disappointed in you a little bit.
Survive.
Not you, but Annie.
Well, why?
And because she should have went off to school.
Who said she didn't? Did she not go to school?
She can, right?
Was there a decision
I
that
know
she
she
didn't go to
still
school?
can, but
No, I'm asking.
you know.
But that's real that you're
But my question is, where y'all from and where did y'all study at?
Yeah.
I'm from Baltimore. I went to the University of Maryland in College Park and I studied theater.
Okay.
I got my degree in theater.
Originally from Trinidad, I've moved around as a race and kind of gypsy. I've been in Maryland for the longest. I started in Maryland and then I left. And then I went to a year-long conservatory at the Theater Lab School of Dramatic Arts in Chinatown, and I graduated from there.
I'm from DC. I went to DC Allentown. And then I went to New York, to New York University for drama. Yes.
I am from New York, and but I lived down here for a bit. I went to Suitland as a theater major, then I went to Temple University as a theater major for like a year. Came back and I graduated from the Theater Lab Conservatory. It's a one-year intensive. And I also studied abroad, which you guys should do. I studied at BADA, which is Oxford University. It's a British American Dramatic Academy, and I did that for a summer.
So I have never gone to school for theater.
But she's a bomb that.
You got bombed out. This is what you call a match.
But I did get my undergrad degree here at Howard University.
I'm from Trenton, New Jersey. Anyway, I went to Howard. I did study. I did study theater. I studied musical theater actually, and I also went to a straight acting program in New York called the William Esper Studio, which is a really good studio. If y'all ever end up in New York, so check that out.
I'm from Baltimore, and I went to Baltimore School for the Arts, and then I also went to NYU Tisch with Renee.
Yes.
I'm from Southeast and I flunked out of UDC.
And he's a map of the
And
South.
I took my graduate studies at a leadership conference in Nairobi, Kenya. And I like to say that I'm an autodidact. So whenever you're in a situation and someone's trying to make you feel like you ain't shit, I have an MBA from Harvard, Stanford, Yale, but you know, I say, oh, I flunked out of UDC. I'm an autodidact. Hey, you know what? A self-taught.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that lets you know, I know some you don't, you know some I don't. Let's have a conversation, but don't come at me with your student loan debt and just that's something to impress upon. Okay? You can educate yourself. All right. We got just a few more minutes here, and we have a special performance by
The cutting up cast.
the Cutting Up Cast. More shameless self-promotion coming up right here.
How y'all doing? My name is Ayana, and I actually was going to ask the question that the brother asked, but for the purposes of gentrification. When I saw your program, your artistic director is white, no shade, but this story is about black and marginalized lives. And it was funded by our government, which cares nothing about the youth who were funded to come and see it. So as artists, sincere, real artists, how are you reconciling what your art is capable of doing and what we're currently seeing happen? And how does your artistic director and other people who don't look like you processing the world we now live in? Just being real sorry.
That's a great question.
And let me punch back. Do you think they did a good job in the production of the work that and they presented it?
I think you did great. I think you guys are great artists, but I have the political analysis to always ask additional questions. So coming with what you have, exceptional. Coming with what was written, exceptional. But when I open up the program, and then we talking about milk like sugar, he don't look like he know nothing about milk and sugar. So I just want to understand, are our stories being commodified because DC is writing great grants for ghetto stories now? Or, I mean, just being real, I gotta be real.
Yeah.
See, I was born and bred in Ward 8. So, you know what I'm saying? I know you drew the cutting up flyer because I taught him in summer camp. So, when we have these conversations, I gotta be real and I need to know because my organization don't get no funding. We have been on the corner of MLK and Good Hope since Jesus was circumcised. So I just want us all to grab hands and leverage. I'm just being real, grab hands and leverage. So that if y'all in a position that ain't working for y'all, we all are doing great things. You know what I'm saying?
Would you?
But
Yeah.
just to say, I just want to add, since she's being real, that it's important to point this out, is that 33% of black children in Washington, D.C. live in poverty. 22% of Latino children in D.C. live in poverty. 0% of white children in D.C. live in poverty. That's just a fact that has to be stated if she's going to go there. So please continue.
I would love to respond. So I work with Mosaic Theater. I'm the development company management person, and I also coordinated this production. So I went with them to go to the DC Commission on the Arts to get the grant. Kamon was also there with some interns. So this has been a collaboration that I was brought on to do in mid-July. They applied for the grant before I was brought in, and we birthed this together in a genesis. We've had many meetings with Kamon to figure out how to best represent this correctly, because this was also a concern of mine. So I look like you, right? So this was something that I'm not going to open the program and see that we're going to come down to Anacostia Playhouse and give them our ghetto play. That's not something that we were interested in doing. But I will certainly say that it is something that in the back of my mind, because of the landscape of the community and our country right now, I was anxious and very aware of. With that said, we have conversations in our staff meetings about the content that we're producing. We have them every Tuesday because we get a lot of comments from audiences. We get a lot of people on our staff. You know, we are 11 people. We are all different in age, gender, race, orientation, education level, etc., etc. So we have a lot of different people from different backgrounds in our Mosaic staff rooms to talk every Tuesday morning about what we are trying to do, how we can do it better, what we did wrong, where we made mistakes, what we want to do about those mistakes, where we want to go further, etc. We're very proud of this play. I'm very proud of this play. I'm very proud that I was able to be a part of the play. Our director, Jennifer Nelson, is a black woman. Yes. She is I don't know how old Jennifer is, it doesn't matter, but she represents a certain age and understanding that as a woman of color, I only know maybe 2 black directors that are women. 2. Jennifer's one of them. It is a grossly misrepresented field for black women, grossly. And for her to have chosen this play last year, because she specifically said she wanted to showcase this because it's not just about women, it's about young women, it's about young girls. Yes. And that was extremely important to her, to speak to them. Is the play perfect? That's not my decision, who knows? That's up to the writer.
Let's be clear, it was.
Yeah, and I've come to reconcile many things about the play because I actually first encountered this play in 2012 at NYU Tisch. Renee knows how controversial this was when they tried to produce it at our school, which is a PWI, private white university, and I don't even know how many black kids were in Tisch, and this was one of our options to do. I almost auditioned for the role of Malik, and I did not because the director was a white woman, and I chose not to. And there were many conversations that happened about that. So this play, right. So this is something this play I've known and digested for over 4 years. And I only reconciled the way that I felt about it once I heard Jennifer's perspective, point of view, angle, and what she wanted to execute. And I think she did so brilliantly. And thank you for your question.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, just for those on the internet and wherever this may go, it wasn't to be contentious.
Absolutely
because
not.
As a supporter of the arts and an artivist, I always look at what's behind the scenes of what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And I want to encourage these up and coming to look at that as well. So I did
Absolutely.
notice that the director was black.
Yes.
So I was going to highlight that. And most of our funding does have to come from people who don't look like us.
Yes.
So we got
which has nothing to do with
You gotta make sure you have those conversations with them, like,
Right,
exactly.
don't just give me the money,
Which is
like,
the generational things that are
So I'm glad
way
to know
before
that
us.
But know that if you look at this if you look at Mosaic's past, and they're a relatively new company, but if you
Second
look
year.
at their, if you look at their lineup, their season, if you look at Theater Alliance's season, which is the other company that has something here right now, we're using their stage, you will see theater that is reflective of our community. So they are making a concerted effort to do theater that's reflective of the area that they perform in. And so that's the type of theater that you want to write in about, you want to support it, you want to let them know that they're making the right decisions, because if they're putting the plays out and no one is coming, then it determines whether or not they continue to put those shows on next year, right?
And Jennifer mentioned
No
this
types.
to somebody in the audience last night. Whatever feedback you have for the theater with them being new,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like, they welcome notes,
Right.
especially like audiences like this. If you have a thought about a play like this, if you don't think it's represented well, or if it touches on something that was like disrespectful to you, like they want to know that.
Or something that empowered you as
Because
well.
like you said, there's people who aren't like of the representation of the characters in the show, so they need to know if they're like stepping in the wrong territory, if they're, they can't figure everything out by themselves. Yeah, they welcome all that feedback.
And just to dovetail that, part of in the program is we are actually openly asking and seeking for you all to write reviews, and you will be submitting them to me, which will then be read on We Act Radio.
And you can
All
be,
of you.
You can become a critic, and you should be examining and filtering information that's presented to you.
Right.
And I just want to say that we're here at Anacostia Playhouse. This is ran and owned by a beautiful white sister, and she's committed to telling the stories, the Lion story. We Act Radio is co-owned by a white brother, Social Security Works, that's committed to telling the Lion story. So it's really about the authenticity.
Exactly.
Because BET is black. So what? Radio 1 is black. So what? It's not qualitatively different from the other carbonated stories we get exposed to. But I always raise this question because unfortunately this is a racist society, a racist world, and we're here to break that chain, break that cycle. And the most powerful answer is a question. We got any more questions before we wrap up?
Yes.
I think.
If you got a question, raise your hand. Is it? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is 3 and we close out, and then we'll get a statement from everybody, and then we have a performance. All right.
2.
My name is Cornell, and I had more so, my question was kind of like more so pertaining to advice for like a previous version of me that I could have been told when I was younger. But the scene when, I think her name was Kira was talking about the fact that, all that she said about her family and stuff was like a lie. I can relate to, I used to do that when I was younger because, my background was kind of really, crappy. And it's like when I saw that scene, it's just like I instantly just got flooded with so many memories. And it's just, I was just like, it took me a while to get out of that. But if I would have been able to get some advice back then that could have helped me get out of it sooner, I was just wondering like if any of you could have, shared some of that just right now.
I wish she was here right now.
Yeah.
In the bathroom.
I've said this multiple times. I think while I talk, so forgive me. I think my character is one who, like, Malik is just so like numb to stuff that he's like, he doesn't even have the power to lie about his family background. He's just like, my mom is what she is, my dad is gone. He's like lost all strength to even put up an appearance or lie to anybody. He's just like, people laugh at me. I know I'm on my, like, I'm a loner. Like, I'm just trying to get out. So I think getting back to what we were talking about, one of his lines about having a ticket. If I were to give advice, I would just say, like, remember that you have to live your life for yourself. We're attached in some way to our family because we're born into it. We think that we're attached to certain circles of friends because that's how we spend our time is with our friends. But when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night, everything you do between that should be for yourself. So you need to sit down and figure out, like, what do I want to do with my time, with my life 5 years from now? When I am like 25, when I am 45, what do I want to be doing?